A social media post alluding to a faster opening date for In-N-Out Burger in Albuquerque has been proven to be false. The city of Albuquerque is cracking down on e-scooters that are left in sidewalks that are blocking pedestrians. The city of Albuquerque has settled for $2.5 million in a police shooting that involved a man in a mental health crisis. And an endangered Mexican gray wolf has been found dead in New Mexico. From the Albuquerque Journal, this is the leading news. I'm Gino Gutierrez. It's Wednesday, April 2nd, and I'll have more on those stories in a few moments, plus a look at Albuquerque's weather forecast on the other side of this break.
This episode is brought to you by the Kirtland Partnership Committee. For 30 years, we've been dedicated to supporting, growing, and preserving the Kirtland National Security Complex. We work tirelessly to enhance military readiness, foster community partnerships, improve quality of life, and promote economic development right here in New Mexico. Join us in our mission to ensure that Kirtland remains a cornerstone of national security and a key provider of quality jobs and investment for all of Greater Albuquerque. Together, we can make a powerful impact. Kirtland Partnership Committee, proudly shaping the future of our national security for 30 years.
A recent social media post may have confused a lot of Albuquerque residents on when we can expect an In-N-Out Burger to open here in Albuquerque. With more on this, I'm now joined by the Journal's retail and real estate reporter, Kylie Garcia. Kylie, thank you so much for joining me.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So, Kylie, we've known that In-N-Out Burger is coming here to Albuquerque for a while now, but a recent social media post has caused a little bit of confusion on when we can actually expect that location to open. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, so every year it seems around on April Fool's Day, there's a Facebook post where it's announced that In-N-Out has, broken ground. Construction has started in Albuquerque. And so I saw that post today, of course, on April Fool's Day. And so, of course, that's false. It's a prank post. But then last week on Friday, March 28th, me and my team at the Journal came across a post from a popular Albuquerque Instagram account called Albuquerque Hotspot. And basically, they just said that Albuquerque, the first location in Albuquerque from In-N-Out was going to break ground before July. And they were aiming to open by Christmas of 2026. And so, we reached out to In-N-Out right away, and they basically just said that timeline and construction timeline was not accurate.
And Kylie, it's kind of been widely known that when In-N-Out announced that they were expanding to Albuquerque, that 2027 date was pretty set in stone, at least what they were aiming for. So do we know how that social media post came up with that July breaking ground date and opening by Christmas?
It's not clear where they got that from. In the caption of the post, they said it was a little insider info. So probably just, between friends or just someone that they spoke with that may have a net connection to the site. But official word is that, 2027 has been the target and still is.
So now that we know that 2027 is still the date we expect to see In-N-Out Burger here in Albuquerque, we can kind of focus a little bit more, Kylie, on the location of where this In-N-Out Burger is going to be located near Gibson and I-25, kind of in that southern UNM kind of area. And that's seen a lot of recent developments as of late. You penned an article a couple weeks ago about a Motel 6 the university bought in order to renovate that's in that same location. So they're really trying to revitalize that part of their campus.
Oh yeah, for sure. They definitely have lots of big plans. They brought Raising Cane's in, hoping to, get In-N-Out across the finish line, probably some more restaurants down the line. I think a super Target was also mentioned at one point. So yeah, they have lots of things currently in the works in that area.
So In-N-Out Burger still coming to Albuquerque, but it will be in 2027. Journal retail and real estate reporter Kylie Garcia with the latest. Thank you so much, Kylie.
Of course, thanks for having me.
The city of Albuquerque is intensifying enforcement against improperly parked rentable e-scooters, impounding 38 scooters from sidewalks, and charging vendors hefty fees for their retrieval. Companies operating in the city, Spin, Lime, and Beam, have expressed frustration, arguing that they were not given adequate time to collect the scooters before they were seized. Under the city's policy, rental firms have a 24-hour grace period to retrieve e-scooters left in unrestricted areas. However, Beam claims that some scooters were impounded within minutes of being parked, preventing them from addressing violations in a reasonable time frame. Lime officials also cited miscommunication and are working with the city to adjust their procedures, while Spin reported that they were not notified before their scooters were removed. City officials maintain that the crackdown is necessary to keep sidewalks safe and accessible for pedestrians. Alan Varela, Albuquerque's planning department director, said, quote, "The honeymoon phase is over and the main concerns are everyone's safety and keeping the right-of-way clear." The city relies relaxed its e-scooter regulations earlier in 2024, leading to an expansion of the service. Currently, about 2,000 reliable e-scooters are available across Albuquerque with 105 docking stations. However, officials have noticed the scooters are frequently left blocking sidewalks for extended periods, prompting stricter enforcement. The rise of reliable e-scooters in Albuquerque mirrors trends in other cities across the United States, where officials have struggled to balance accessibility with regulation.
Yeah, it's really an emerging form of transportation, and anytime you have something new...
My colleague Justin Garcia is a reporter for the Journal.
The municipalities like the city of Albuquerque are put in a position where they have to respond to it. So it's really not unexpected that there are some ups and downs and some tweaks that have to be made to regulations, but that's pretty typical process for new things.
When e-scooters first arrived in the city in 2019, vendors like Razor and Bird withdrew, citing overly restrictive policies that made it difficult to operate. Despite the current enforcement actions, city officials say they remain supportive of e-scooters as a transportation option. While tensions remain over enforcement timing, both city and rental companies appear committed to working together to improve compliance and keep e-scooters available for residents and visitors alike. In other headlines from the newsroom, the city of Albuquerque has agreed to pay $2.5 million to Max Mitnick, who was left permanently disabled after being shot by a police officer during a schizophrenic episode in 2020. The settlement was reached in mid-March, while the lawsuit was in limbo following an appeal over a qualified immunity ruling. Mitnick's parents sued the city and Officer Jose Ruiz in 2022, alleging that police were negligently dispatched without mental health professionals. On June 4th, 2020, Ruiz shot Mitnick in the head while he was holding a knife to his own neck during a behavioral crisis. The injury left him largely paralyzed on his left side, affecting his ability to walk, drive, or participate in activities he once loved. Despite an internal review finding Ruiz's force was justified, it criticized his lack of control over the situation. Ruiz is still with the Albuquerque Police Department. Mitnick's family has faced immense challenges since the shooting, including the death of his mother, his primary caretaker. His father, now retired, has taken on caregiving responsibilities and hoped the settlement signals a need for better emergency responses. He supports the Albuquerque Community Safety Department, which deploys behavioral health responders instead of police to crisis calls. ACS, launched in response to cases like Mitnick's, recently marked 100,000 service calls since 2021. However, police-involved shootings during mental health crises continue, raising concerns about the effectiveness of non-law enforcement interventions. And a female Mexican gray wolf, F2996, was found dead on Sunday after wandering outside the designated wolf recovery area, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The cause of death is still under investigation. F2996, nicknamed Ella by conservation groups, had been roaming freely after escaping a crate near Show Low, Arizona during the annual wolf population count. She traveled across Arizona and New Mexico, reaching Mount Taylor north of Interstate 40. Wildlife officials had recently decided not to relocate her, monitoring her movements instead. Environmental advocates had celebrated the decision to let the wolf roam, arguing that regions north of Interstate 40 provide a suitable habitat. Taylor McKinnon of the Center for Biological Diversity called her death a, quote, tragedy, and is calling for a thorough investigation. Mexican gray wolves remain endangered, though their population has steadily increased. The 2025 count recorded at least 286 wolves in Arizona and New Mexico, an 11% rise. However, wolf deaths continue to be a concern, with 31 reported in 2023 due to illegal shootings, vehicle collisions, natural causes, and other factors. Killing a Mexican gray wolf is a federal crime under the Endangered Species Act, with penalties including fines or jail time. A reward of up to $105,000 is available for information leading to the convictions of those responsible for an unlawful killing of an endangered wolf. If you like hearing all of the latest news from the Albuquerque Journal here on the Leading News, consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Albuquerque Journal. You can check our show notes for a discount code on a digital subscription and keep up with all the latest news from New Mexico's leading news source. Now taking a look at Albuquerque's weather forecast, there is a 20% chance of showers after 3 p.m., mostly sunny with a high near 57. As for this evening, mostly cloudy skies are expected with a low around 31. To keep up with all the latest news from the Albuquerque Journal, you can visit our website at abqjournal.com. I'm Gino Gutierrez. The Leading News will be back tomorrow.